ESARCO International Incorporated, a public-held company, licenses and markets this patented multi-use truck. To build these machines.
Unless you are the sort of Land Rover enthusiast that knows your Minivers from your Tickfords and your Cuthbertsons from your Carmichaels, the word ESARCO is unlikely to mean much to you, such is the rarity of this strange machine. Seeing one of these vehicles in the wild is a rare event. Seeing one come up for sale is an even rarer event. In fact, this footage is one of only 2 known videos covering the ESARCO on the entirety of the internet. That is, until now. So when the request came from a friend to assist in the retrieval and restoration of one of these rare beasts, I jumped at the opportunity and brought my cameras with me to document the story for all of Land Rover kind to see. This is the Steg. Some say he survived 4 years of an engineering degree only eating Fray Bentos pies, and that he was once the sheriff of a small town in Morocco. But in reality, he's a bloke from Cheshire who has a big soft spot for rare and unloved vehicles. So far, his collection includes, but is not limited to, a 1951 Scammell Explorer, a variety of classic tractors, a small fleet of classic British trucks, and enough old Land Rovers to start a small museum. So to him, driving halfway across the country collecting ancient and rusty pieces of British automotive history is nothing out of the ordinary. That said, the object of today's journey is anything but ordinary.
Bombing Port Stanley Airport, but first that runway was hit by one of 21 bombs from a lone Vulcan bomber, flying from Ascension and being refueled 7 times on the way.
As a helicopter pilot in the Falklands War, Major Michael Somerton Rayner had seen the incredibly tough conditions faced by the ground vehicles of the time. He saw that the regular Land Rover Series 3s and 101s struggled with the boggy, marshy terrain of the Falkland Islands, and indeed, one Colonel I.J. Hellberg of the time was quoted saying, "The force was discouraged from taking any vehicles as there were no roads on the Falkland Islands. The only exception was a Volvo BV202 snow vehicle that could cope with the soft peat." Upon returning to the UK, Major Somerton Rayner set about designing a vehicle that could cross the harshest of terrains and yet still be able to travel at high speed on the road. That vehicle was to become the ESARCO.
Who is going to be second in the ESARCO? In the 8x8 ESARCO, it is Joey Dunlop.
With the drivetrain taken almost exclusively from the Land Rover 110, the ESARCO was truly a child of the 80s.
Land Rover 110.
Available in either 6x6 or 8x8 variants, the ESARCO could carry up to 2 tons of equipment across any terrain imaginable. With a breakover angle of over 90 degrees and a climbing ability of 45 degrees, there weren't many obstacles that could stop an ESARCO with a determined driver. An article in Off-Road and Four-Wheel Drive magazine from 1989 described how the ESARCO floated effortlessly over terrain that would stop a normal 4x4 dead in its tracks. Those wise in the ways of four-wheel drive off-roaders will brace themselves for the expected bone-shaking shocks of rapidly approaching hazards, only to feel slightly foolish and disbelieving as they pass almost unnoticed beneath the vehicle's wheels. Although the ESARCO was arguably the best performing light truck of its day, it was never adopted by the British Army, and aside from a small number sold to the Portuguese military, the ESARCO was destined to remain a prototype forever. And that is where the Steg comes in. As a serial classic military vehicle owner, the Steg has the time, knowledge and equipment needed to bring a vehicle like this back to life. Assisting him will be Sam Allman from Allman Commercial Repairs. As a vintage commercial vehicle enthusiast and a talented HGV fitter, Sam will be invaluable on this project. And then there's me. An engineer by trade, I enjoy fiddling around with Land Rovers in their many forms, and I have been known from time to time to make a little video clip on them, here and there. Between us, we should have the skills and experience needed to take on this mammoth project. As a relatively unknown prototype, the restoration of the ESARCO will be no mean feat. Many of its key components, such as the chassis and bodywork, were handmade and have no off-the-shelf replacements available. One small mercy is that the drivetrain is completely based on Land Rover components, something that all three of us have a lot of experience with. Even so, awakening this beast from its 20-year slumber will be a huge task. In a previous life, this ESARCO served as a sea defence vehicle carrying 1-ton blocks of concrete up and down Cromer Beach and suffering horribly from the salt. And this once shining example of British engineering has been reduced to a creaking, rusted hulk. Join us on the next episode of Stranger Landies, where we'll be collecting this mythical beast. Come with us as we find out if it's possible to reawaken the ESARCO's ancient diesel engine.
Come on, girl.
Or to move the ESARCO without the help of a 12-ton Scammell Explorer, and find out just how badly the salt water has affected her.
I can hear like rusty crunching going on down there. I'm watching the rusty crunching. Alright, let's stop that now.
Hey guys, Sam here. Hope you guys enjoyed that first part of the ESARCO series. As you guys can no doubt see, this project is going to be a huge undertaking for all three of us, and our time is going to be really limited working on the build, unfortunately. Nick runs an engineering business full-time, Sam's a full-time truck mechanic, and I work full-time as well as an engineer. My hope though is that we can really do the vehicle justice, both in terms of the quality of the work we're doing on it and also the video series that I'm doing for you guys now. Our thoughts on it were that the vehicle is so rare and there's so few vehicles of it on the internet already that we just had to do this series for you guys. So hopefully this video series will do it justice and we can spread more ESARCO knowledge around the world for all you Land Rover fans to see. So we're going to give up a lot of our weekends over the next few months working on the build, filming this and editing it for you guys to enjoy as well. As with any rebuild, there's going to be a lot of new parts required in this. A lot of them are standard Land Rover parts, which makes it a bit easier for us. So wheel bearings, bushes, axle parts, suspension, all of that is standard Land Rover. Even down to the transmissions and transfer boxes, it's all standard Land Rover parts. There's also going to be the other things that are required for any rebuild, which are like consumables, paints, fixings and fasteners, stuff like that. So if you're a business owner that supplies any of those things and you'd like to help out with the rebuild and saving of this classic British piece of engineering, we'd love to hear from you. For anybody else that wants to help out, you guys can easily do that by liking the video and sharing it with any of your friends that you think would be interested in watching this series. As the more likes and shares we get on this video, the more it will help out the series and help the audience to grow. But yeah, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys on the next episode of Stranger Landies.